Cooper and Tank Dell. Marcus, who you got?
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Amari Cooper. I think a little bit of a revenge game, him wanting to show up Dallas and remind them, say, hey, maybe you should have kept me all along, to have a dynamic duo to go with CeeDee Lamb. I think Cooper was really coming into form at the end of last year. I think Watson coming back is going to want to keep that going. So for me, it's going to be Amari Cooper.
And I have Tank. Tank also was coming on really strong at the end of last year, and he has a great rapport with Stroud already. And I think the Texans are going to be moving the ball really well. And with Cooper, I'm less confident in that offense.
Yeah, CJ Stroud absolutely loves Tank Dell. They let him build his own fantasy team, and he chose Tank Dell as his slot receiver out of anybody in the whole NFL. So it's hard to go wrong with Tank Dell in this situation.
Yeah, it's Tank Dell for me too. But moving on, who do we like between Xavier Worthy and Jaden Reed? Marcus?
Yeah, for me, it's Xavier Worthy. It's probably the player I'm most excited to see tomorrow night for opening kickoff. I want to see what the Chiefs do. Are they really going to let him run the Tyreek Hill route, especially with Hollywood Brown rolled out? I think Worthy could have 2 touchdowns tomorrow night. So give me Worthy.
I like Worthy for the season, but for tomorrow, I'm on Reed, and I have a feeling that the Kansas City Ravens game is going to be a little bit lower scoring than what we might expect, and especially when you're comparing it to the Green Bay Philly game. So I just want a piece of that game. Eric, who do you like?
I like Reed. I think he came on very strong last year. I think that Green Bay receiving core is really all over the place, and I think we're going to see Jaden Reed come out as the #1 receiver in this offense.
I'm going to have to go with Xavier Worthy. I think he is going to take that Chiefs offense this year to the next level. We're going to see prime Patrick Mahomes giving him another deep option, something he hasn't had since Tyreek Hill. So now let's talk about who our #1 receiver is this week. Eric?
Well, as long as CeeDee Lamb signs, I have CeeDee Lamb as being the #1 receiver. I absolutely love him. I'm snagging him in every fantasy draft that I could get this year. But if he's not in, I have to go for the outstanding Tyreek Hill.
I'd agree with that. Tyreek Hill is my #1 wide receiver. Should be a lot of quality quarterback play in the state of Florida this weekend. And I think Tyreek Hill is going to be on the right side of that.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to remind everybody why he's the best wide receiver in football just based on talent. I think the Vikings Giants game has a little bit of a sneaky potential where neither team's going to play that much defense. Jefferson, I think, could easily end the week with 12 plus catches, 150 yards, a couple touchdowns, and be the wide receiver 1 this week. But who do you got, Marty?
I have St. Brown. I chose Goff as my quarterback. I really think the Lions are in a smash spot this week, and they're going to score a lot of points. And it starts and ends with St. Brown. And let's move on to running backs now. So first up, Zamir White, Najee Harris. Zach, who do you like?
Give me Najee. I think the Steelers are going to run a lot. And Jalen Warren's not quite 100%, so I think it's going to be a lot of Najee Harris, and that's who I'm going with. So, Marcus, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. It's Harris. I think he's a candidate easily for 20 plus touches. Zamir White could also get some touches, but who's more talented to me? It's Najee Harris. And it's just, I think Arthur Smith might want to stick it to Atlanta just a little bit. So I want that as well. So, Marty, you got somebody else?
No, I have Harris as well. I like Zamir White a lot for the season, but for week 1 in this matchup, I like Harris. And the next one we have up is Brian Robinson and Raheem Mostert. Eric, who do you like here?
I like Brian Robinson. I think you're going to get more of the running back. They don't pay as much attention to him because they're watching the quarterback, Jaden Daniels. So I'm going to take Brian Robinson, and I love him at this spot.
Yeah, I agree with Brian Robinson there. I think a lot of people, they see Austin Eckler going to the Commanders and think that's going to be a shared backfield. I think we're going to see a lot more of Brian Robinson, at least on first, second down than people realize. Definitely around the goal line. So that's why I'm going with him, not only this week but the rest of the season. Marcus, what about you?
Yeah, for me, it's Brian Robinson. Do you think he has a chance to really take a hold of that backfield there with Washington? But Marty, do you think you could make a case for Raheem Mostert?
I do. I think Mostert, he's getting a lot of hate. I mean, obviously he should not. He outperformed last year for sure, but he also scored over 20 touchdowns, and he's only 1 year older. He's not 5 years. He didn't age 5 years magically in the offseason, and it's that's a Miami offense that's going to score a lot of points, and I think he's still going to have a large role in that offense. And moving on to top running back of the week, Zach, kick us off.
Well, number one running back, as long as he's playing, is going to be Christian McCaffrey for me. It's tough defense against the Jets, but I don't care. Anybody else have a different opinion?
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Kenneth Walker. McCaffrey's great, right? Obviously, RB1, but I think Walker really has the potential to score more points this week. Last year, no team on the road gave up more points to the running back than the Denver Broncos. And I'm buying a little bit of what's coming out of the Seattle from the talking heads over there saying that Kenneth Walker is going to be given a lot more touches this year. I just think that he's set up to absolutely smash in week one and finishes the RB1. But moving on to tight end battles. First one up we got here is Brock Bowers or Dallas Goddard. Eric, who you got?
Well, I absolutely love Brock Bowers, and I picked him up as many drafts as I can, but I do not think he's going to have the fantasy points week one. Tight ends usually start a little slower, maybe not even their rookie year at all. Definitely, I don't think he's going to be able to produce the first game. I'm going to go with Dallas Goddard over Brock Bowers this week.
Well, for me, if if everything went right in the draft, I'm not starting either one of these guys. I'm not thrilled with either one. If I had to pick one, give me Dallas Goddard. He's the veteran. He's going to be on the field. I'm not sure about Bowers. Marcus, what about you?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to go with Bowers. Just have a feeling the Raiders are going to want to show that they took him for a reason. And Minshew is capable of getting the ball to his playmakers, as we saw last year with Indianapolis and getting Pittman the ball. I just think Bowers is there. Goddard, I just don't see any upside. At best, he's the third receiving option. If you throw in Barkley, he's the fourth option when it's just getting touches in general. And I just think the floor is really low for Goddard. So I just want that unknown potential upside of Bowers if I had to pick one. Marty, you got somebody?
Well, I went with Goddard just because for the same reasons as Eric. I'm concerned about Bowers' ability to he may not even get a target. I mean, I think he will, but I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't even get a target in the first week. And it's just that game too. The Green Bay Philadelphia game is a lot more appealing to me. The next tight end battle that we have is Jake Ferguson and Njoku.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson and David Njoku. I think it's kind of a toss-up, and then we don't know which Deshaun Watson we're gonna see. So that's an interesting game just to see how that plays out. But I like Jake Ferguson. I think he's the number 2 option on that team, and I think he's gonna see a very large amount of targets this year. I think he's gonna get the second most targets on his team.
I agree with that. Jake Ferguson for me, just simply because I trust the Dallas Cowboys offense a lot more than I trust the Cleveland Browns, at least this point in the season.
Yeah,
Marcus?
I would say Ferguson as well. It's no secret that I think Ferguson has breakout potential at tight end. But Marty, you think you could make a case for Njoku?
I like Njoku. He came on really strong at the end of last year. I know he doesn't have Flacco throwing him the ball this time, but I think maybe Watson sees that and he's like, hey, this guy's pretty good. I'm going to throw him the ball. But we have Ferguson. Like Ferguson, I had him last year. He just kind of frustrated me. He had a lot of 4 catches for 40-yard type games. He's going up against the Browns. I mean, that's a challenging matchup. I mean, I think that the Dallas offense could struggle a little bit more than people think this week. So moving on to top tight ends.
Yeah, the top tight end of the week, I have Dalton Kincaid. I absolutely loved him. I grabbed him everywhere in fantasy I could. He wasn't ranked number 1, but he was number 1 in my book on the entire year, and I think he's going to be number 1 this week. I think Josh Allen's going to look for him as a safety blanket. When he needs a first down, he's going to be looking his way. When he's in the end zone, he's going to be looking his way. And I think we're going to see a little bit of Dawson Knox steal maybe a touchdown or two, but I think Dalton Kincaid could see over 100 catches this year, which no tight end got last year. Zach, what do you think?
Well, I definitely like your Dalton Kincaid pick there. He's one of my breakout tight ends this season, along with Kyle Pitts. But both those guys, I kind of want to wait and see a little bit before I move them all the way up to number 1. I think they both can get there. But so my number 1 guy going into week 1 is Sam Laporta. He's going to be playing in the highest scoring game of the week, and with Jared Goff swinging it like he's going to be doing, definitely betting on Laporta to finish number 1. Marcus?
Yeah, I would say Laporta as well. Not a very bold take, I think, but the game with the most points, arguably one of the best tight ends already in the league. He has the connection with Goff, so I'm going to say Laporta is the top tight end one this week. Marty, who do you got?
I have Kincaid, and I know I've been all in on the Lions so far, but Kincaid is just, I think he's in an absolute smash spot. The Cardinals haven't been that great against tight ends for years, and I just think that this is going to be the year where Kincaid takes a huge step forward and just has a big role in potentially Josh Allen's number 1 target this season. And moving on, like now